Is my ghosted ex-wife possibly tracking me down? Original story. My original post was removed several times, but someone told me it was reposted somewhere. To rehash my original story for clarity, I posted a few months back about ghosting my ex-wife when I found out she was cheating on me with a coworker, which I witnessed firsthand by following her. After confronting her several times and getting nowhere, I mentally threw in the towel. My course of action was to leave her and ghost the living hell out of her. To be clear, we still had separate accounts and no shared assets, so I was able to cleanly do this and completely moved out of the apartment we shared. I moved out of the city, onto a parcel of land and a trailer I bought from a friend. Once she came back from her trip, all that was left was a note in my wedding band. Since that time, my living situation has been great, and I lived pretty simply. Since I'm a remote worker in a technical field, I can work from anywhere and jump on a plane when I'm needed elsewhere, as long as I have good internet service, which fortunately I do. My intention was to sort myself out, and had just contacted a lawyer, but she beat me to it, and we had an uncontested divorce. Here's the problem. I bumped into a mutual friend a while back, and she mentioned that my ex-wife was outed at work about the affair, and things did not go well for her, or the guy she was cheating on me with. I stopped her from telling me anything more, because that woman had done enough to me, and I really didn't need to hear about it. She also said that my ex is still wanting to contact me, and wants to get back together, beg for my forgiveness, etc. I didn't really believe her, and she was adamant about it. I told her not to say anything about seeing me, and she agreed. I have no desire to do anything about talking to her again, let alone seeing her. But 3 days ago, I saw my ex in a coffee shop, sitting by herself in a little town near where I live. It's kind of a recreational tourist area, but this is several hours from where she lives, and this cannot be a coincidence, can it? I almost stopped in there for a coffee myself, but she was looking on her phone, so I didn't think she saw me. But I think, since I have since grown a heavy beard, and am wearing my hair shoulder length, she probably wouldn't recognize me. My reaction, like before, was to bolt like I had just seen Satan himself, and I got out of there as quickly and stealthily as I could. Anyway, I thought I was pretty untraceable, and now I'm not so sure. Is my behavior normal? I'm also thinking about talking to a counselor or someone about this flight mode I have been getting into when it comes to dealing with my ex. Up until this happened, I was really content and living a great solo life. A friend of mine was wondering if she had gotten a PI to track me down. Should I just leave it alone, or hope for the best? Now, for the updates. Update 1. Just wanted to update on the situation I found myself in with my ex-wife, and have rewritten this about 5 times to make it legible. As mentioned in my previous post, I was concerned that my ex-wife was trying to track me down in an attempt to reconcile or something. I had moved some 2 hours from where we used to live. I saw her last weekend in a coffee shop I go to frequently in the town that is near to where I live. I was suspicious that it was not a coincidence that she was there. Luckily, I was able to leave before she saw me. Update. I came back into town this past weekend to grab a few groceries, and went to grab a coffee in the place I usually go to, as well as work on some documents I needed to fill out for work, using their free internet. After finishing up, I left the coffee shop. While I'm walking towards my truck, I hear someone yell, "Paul?" I look across the street and oh shit. There's Kathy, my ex, waving at me. Armageddon had finally happened. I stood there in shock. She runs across the street, and approaches me, and reaches out to me, expecting a hug, and I instinctively hold my arms out with palms out. And she stops. She looks at me really hurt. She then says, "Paul? I have been looking for you. I heard you moved out here and wanted to see you. Can we talk?" I feel like a trapped animal, guys, I really did. So I relented, and said, "Okay, let's find a table or something, and we can talk for a minute." She asks if we can go to my place, and I just flat out said no. She follows me down to a bench outside a little shop at the end of the block. She starts by saying how much I've changed, and how she loves my new look, my beard, blah blah. She liked how my physique had changed, how I looked. She puts on a good act, and guys, she looked hot. She had on these little white shorts and a tank top, and her hair in a ponytail like I used to like. My radar was on high alert, and I could tell she was really turning on the sex appeal. I had to really rein myself in here and see where this was going. She starts out by apologizing about the whole affair thing. She says karma really hit her hard after I left. Her company learned of her affair, and basically made things so unpleasant that she quit. Her AP, who had a fiancé at the time, got a reprimand, and was moved to another position within the company. He blamed her for his having to move, and she retaliated by telling his fiancé everything, which resulted in them breaking up. She lowered her head a little and started crying. I just sat there looking around, not having anything to say. She straightened up and stared at me for a bit. I asked her what she wanted from me. She wanted to tell me that she never intended to start an affair, that she felt like she was drawn in by all the politics and positioning in the company, and thought the AP really manipulated her with his charisma and power within the company, and that she stupidly thought she was using him as much as he was using her. She was going to come clean with me, especially after I accused her of having an affair. She hated herself during that time, and the after-work drinking was her attempt to medicate from the guilt. That right after I left her, she felt so foolish, so alone, like her heart just imploded with loss. She immediately broke things off with her AP. She felt that since I wouldn't contact her or talk to her, that she had to find me and see if she could make things right for us, and if we could start over again. She knows we are divorced, but maybe we could have a clean slate. I just stared at her. I let her have it. I'm paraphrasing the conversation, but here it is. How dare you think you can just come out here and think you can just wipe away all the shit you caused? I'm to forgive everything you did to ruin our marriage. I told you before, if you cheated on me, we were through. There is no forgiveness, there is no reboot of this relationship. You killed it. You destroyed what we had the minute you stepped out on me. How stupid do you think I am? I followed you one night and saw you go into a hotel together, do you know that? I then realized that I had been raising my voice, and people were starting to notice. She started to sob. She grabbed my arm. I let her cry on my shoulder a little, before nudging her away. She looked up at me. I deserve all this, I know I do. Can you at least let me take you to dinner or something? I don't want to leave. I want to talk more. I want to make sure we have everything out in the open. I need time with you that you didn't give me before. Please, Paul. I know you may not want to hear this, but I love you so much. I didn't know how much I loved you until you left me and broke me. And I broke you just as bad. I can't forgive myself. I don't want to forgive myself. Until the day I die. She started hyperventilating and sobbing so bad that I pulled her up and hugged her. I know. I felt like that was the only thing I could do to maybe calm her down. At that moment I realized I did actually break her heart, like she broke mine. I started walking with her, and then found a nice quiet path to walk on, and things settled down a bit. I then asked her how she found me, and did she hire a PI or something. She laughed a little and said, no, she thought about it though. She ran into Stacy a couple weeks ago, and she asked her how things were going. Stacy let it slip that she saw me. Kathy made her spill every single detail. Stacy didn't want to tell her because I told her not to. But she wouldn't let her go until she did. But all she really knew was that she saw me here in town, and that I lived somewhere in the vicinity. So she started coming here on her days off to see if she could find me. She really blushed when she said that. I kind of chuckled. That damn Stacy can't keep her trap shut. So we did go to dinner. We found a nice little place with a patio. I made sure we didn't drink anything. I didn't want any excuse for her to soften me up or claim she was too drunk to drive back. We actually had a good talk. Afterwards, I walked her to her car. She wanted to stay, and pressed me hard on it, and wouldn't relent. She hadn't been with anybody else since I left, and swore up and down I was the only one she wanted. I told her no, it's still way too soon for me to go down that road. She begged to see me again, but I was non-committal. I gave her my new email address, but that was it. She wanted my phone number, but I told her no, you'll just blow it up with texts and calls. She cried about that one. She said she would be back in town next weekend if I was interested. I didn't say anything to that. She said she will email me and tell me all the details of when, where. Before she left, I asked her point blank if she would forgive me if I had done the cheating. She sat there thinking, and she said yes, she would in time, but only if we saw a marriage counselor, or if we could work through the healing process with lots of talking, and maybe even a binding agreement. I said, okay, maybe I could do that 5 to 10 years from now. She said if that's what it would take, she would wait. She then took my hands in hers, looked me in the eye and said something that really surprised me. She said, God damn it, Paul, I will always love you and will do anything to prove it. At that, she left. I'm still so shook by that, she said it with such conviction. I still can't see myself back with her. I feel better though. Right now, I can't even see her as an FWB. Maybe a friend, but damn, I just don't know if we could ever work out again. Don't call me a chump, because second chances are rare in my book. I went home and had a nice long run and a few beers, and felt I was in a good place now. Can someone guarantee me that she wouldn't ruin that? I don't know. I just don't know. It's too fresh on my mind. But I have the luxury of time to sort all this out and get some perspective. Update 2. Okay, so this will probably be my last update. I posted my story on Reddit, but the mod kept removing it. To recap, my ex-wife did find me and we did talk, after over a year of her being ghosted by me. Her intention in finding me was indeed to reconcile and restart our life together. To those that wrote to me predicting that I would be the typical beta blue pill fool and forgive her and fall back in with her, you will be sorely disappointed. She did write me a long email this past week, professing her love and regret for the affair once again. She wanted to come back out and spend the weekend with me. My response to all this was to shut her down. I have been perfectly content to live the solo life for now, living in my remote location, and keep my situation as uncomplicated as possible. I have enjoyed the company of several women and friends, and at 32, feel there is no hurry in changing things up. I have my own self-determination roadmap, and I intend to follow it for now. So in answering her email, I refused to give her my new phone number. I laid it all out. I told her no, I do not have any intention in reconciling with her. She made her bed, and I no longer trust her, nor do I know her any longer. I wished her the best, and will consider her a possible friend. Maybe someday, in a future, yet to be determined. My vagueness really frustrated her. So she replied with something very telling. She was, of course, thoroughly disappointed in my response. But she also informed me that she had accepted a job offer several states away, and her real intention all along was for me to come with her. She knows my job is remote, and I can live anywhere I choose, and she thought that I would consider coming with her, and in exchange, we would have a brand new start, in a brand new location. She had little time left before she would be leaving, and wanted to see me in person, and put the hard sell on me. Fortunately for me, I have to leave for business for a week, so our time is up, thank God. So she will be gone from my life now. I imagine I will get a few more emails for a bit longer, but in time, I believe she will realize her time with me has expired, and she will have to find someone else. And she may cheat on them too. Just thought I would share the update. So guys, live your best life. Get rid of that old baggage, and empower yourself to move forward. Good luck to you all. Story 2. I'm starting to realize that people have been seeing me as stupid for my whole life. I live in a country where it is not the norm to continue pursuing higher education. After the age of 16 to 18, most people decide to specialize in different professional careers, without even going to a type of high school, which you need to complete in order to go to university. We finish high school at around age 20. My goal has always been to reach as far in education as I can, with a doctorate's degree being my finish line. I am currently in my last year of my STEM bachelor's course, and the only reason I made it this far is because I'm a very hard worker. I am surrounded by people who are just so smart that they don't need to study nearly as much as I do in order to pass exams. They just understand things without trying too hard. I've always been a slightly above average student, nothing special at all. I, however, used to see myself as a smart person, regardless who is good at maths and certain subjects that interested me in particular. The more time passes, the more I'm coming across situations where I'm just left feeling like my brain just doesn't work as efficiently as it should. I am extremely slow at everything. I often get confused with stupid things. My friends always seem to be waiting for the moment where I say something dumb, and they can go, actually, it's like they're just constantly waiting to prove me wrong about something, and then follow that up with me going, oh, and they laugh and sigh, saying my name obnoxiously. I've always dealt with people behaving with me like this, and I thought, maybe I'm just a bit absent-minded. The fact that I have social anxiety when meeting new people also doesn't help at all. Recently, people have been getting more and more comfortable with just making the fact clear that I'm always lost. It really must come across as dumb to others, when in my brain, the moment someone hints that I've understood something wrong or got confused, I immediately catch on to it and realize what the mistake is and how stupid it was. But to others, I probably just look like a drooling idiot who never has any clue about anything. It's also obvious because people always go out of their way to say something to me that I already know, but they assume I don't, and I just say, I know that, feeling a little annoyed that they have such little faith in me. There was a little argument recently in my family because my younger siblings in school don't feel like studying much, but they typically pass without putting too much work into it. I said, let's see if you even make it to uni because it takes so much hard work. My dad, who is a brutally honest person, responded something along the lines of, well, they're both very smart, it's clear they don't need to work as much as you do to make it to uni. Basically saying I'm dumber than them. I can't lie and say that didn't sting, even though deep down I know he's right. Since then, I'm just realizing every day more and more that to others, I'm stupid. I guess I'm having a hard time coping with that fact, since as a teen, I really thought I wasn't. Besides, you don't need to be smart to get a PhD. People always say you don't need to be smart to succeed. But it still doesn't sit right with me, and I wish I was born with a better brain. Edit. It's only been an hour, but all the replies I'm getting are very heartwarming, and I just want to say I'm very, very thankful to everyone who's taken the time to read my post and respond in an uplifting way. I'd like to respond individually, but I'm in my lunch break and don't have time to at the moment. Just wanted to say thanks so much. Your comments made me feel much better.